Let me get this
No,
one.
I don't want to be in a podcast, bro. Nah, I want to make money. Actually, what the fuck? So you're gonna broadcast me talking?
Yeah. I literally named this ARC podcast. With the boys.
I bet.
Call me fucking Joey Bananas.
Okay, so how do I switch that setting? Party setting?
Yeah.
I just chat audio, paradise, party chat, paradise, game chat. No. Allow your voice to be shared. Always allow. Yeah, I have it always allow. Always allow. Alright.
Do all of y'all
So
have
this story is coming from Haunted Rooms America, the Ghost of El Paso High School.
This nigga.
By Ramirez.
For sure.
With the number of people who pass through them in their lifetime, and the high emotions in the play, it's no wonder that high schools are often considered having ghosts and other associated paranormal activity. High school is often one of the best times in a young person's life, as well as the worst. And the intensity of these often dueling feelings has a way of leaving an impression behind whether you want it or not.
Reading?
I'm reading a story, bro. Can you just fucking listen?
Are you actually reading a story? Like
yeah,
that?
I'm reading a story.
Somebody,
I thought you want me to like freestyle this shit?
Nah, do that. I actually like that.
Yeah, it's an original. This is an original, bro. I'm freestyling this shit.
I like the ones that you're doing, Leah. Keep doing that.
Alright.
Now, like, tell the one that you're telling right now.
Alright.
Wait, Leo.
So what?
So the way you're telling these stories is in third person, right? Like, these are other people's Reddit posts and shit.
Yeah.
Alright, bet. Tell this.
Alright, you done? Nah, I'm just playing. What the fuck? Alright. Alright. So where I leave off. These often dueling feelings has a way of leaving an impression behind, whether you want it or not. So what then does it take to be called one of the most haunted high schools in the United States? What does it really take? It would take more than just an average cold spot and some strange noises to earn a little bit of a title. Perhaps with some truly twisted and dark tales that will boggle the mind and defy all explanations. It would take a building with uniquely impossible visage. It could take countless dead bodies, mysterious missing classrooms, and tales of ghostly girls wandering the halls and reenacting their own gruesome suicides. It seems unlikely that any other school like this could exist, but you would be surprised to tell you about El Paso High School. It almost sounds like a campfire or a cheesy 80s horror story, but just north of border in the city of El Paso, one does. In the heart of El Paso High School, the unbelievable is to be believed, and the dead are very little bit of what lives in this high school. El Paso High School's history. I'm not about to know fucking history, by the way. The ghost of El Paso High School. Of course, with such a long storied history of excellence, a campus this unique and posing they're bound to a few dark tales. Here they are. But the sheer breadth of their oddity is what makes El Paso history with the paranormal truly unique. Morgue. Chapter 1. The Morgue. Their encounters with the paranormal and odd go almost as far as back to its school itself. One particular part of its history that cannot be ignored was its time working as an overflown morgue during the World Wars. The school's immense and basement temporarily held bodies that were shipped into El Paso in the wake of the Spanish flu outbreak and combat deaths with the World War II until the next of kin could be informed. Sealed Classrooms, Chapter 2. If that weren't odd enough, about the basements, there has been reports of faculty and students exploring the basement and discovering classrooms from the early 20th century in pristine condition, save for the dust.
Doing a podcast?
Locked off with no stated reasons given by the administration for their abandoned status. Given the years the school has been in operation, the number of times it has been repeatedly altered to change with the times. Discoveries along these lines are not uncommon. Chapter 3. Occurrences. These are some distinctly supernatural tales of bizarre goings in El Paso High. Over the years, people have reported slamming doors and the sounds of spectacle pep rallies and games going on in school gym only to discover the building completely empty on further inspections. only to find out that the main ghosts here are female spirits. One teacher told the story, we're going home after a late day of work. She saw a girl, but not any type of girl. What seemed to be a girl with the style of a 1920s clothing and a Native American look. In the old blue dress standing in the end of the hallway. Certain that she wasn't supposed to be there, she wanted to tell her to leave the school. Knowing that he's surrounded by teenagers, he didn't think much of it. He just thought it was a little odd that she would be after the class. When she turned to face him, she looked at him sadly. It seemed like she had been through a lot, and only then the teacher could realize that she was invisible, and almost as if she was made of mist. And as mist moves, she faded away from existence. The sighting of ghost girls is common in this high school.
Why did
with
the
at
music
least
change
one
at the perfect time
being tied
though?
to a girl who committed suicide by slitting her wrists and jumping to her own death from the balcony within the school. Through the hallway and stairwell leading to it have since been walked off. More than one person has reported seeing girls standing in the balcony, occasionally leaping from her to her doom, only to run down the stairs and find out that there's nobody there. Those brave enough to have snuck into the blocked off hallways have reported strange slime dripping from the ceiling, and a light mist pours through at least once a day, only a quickly evaporation coming out the rooms. Another of the most famous El Paso High School ghost stories come from a class picture taken of 1985 graduation class. Mixing among a row of teachers is a faded young woman in a white dress. Only a few people in this picture seem to notice her, and upon questioning, nobody in the picture claims to know who she was. It has turned out that this girl could have been involved in one of the deaths or one of the nurses from World War II morgue. Others have insisted that she was not in the original picture and has only faded in over time. Whatever the case is, this young woman remains another of the strange ghostly mysteries that El Paso High School has to offer. Visiting El Paso High School. Regarding by many in El Paso as the most haunted building in town, which is saying something for a city most seem to be regardless as quite haunted. El Paso High School is a must-see site for any supernatural fanatic. Through access isn't easy, as still operating high school with its own rules and regulations for visitors. It is definitely a beautiful sight from the outside and worth a visit, just to be taken in its unique look. Just remember, if you pass by the gym and hear a game while there's no one around, there might be one going on. That's it. The fuck? That shit was pretty fire though. I'm gonna do scary.
Oh, Dustin, look at this one.
Or normal.
This was my favorite though. Look at Deadass got 6 legs.
Ghost Stories, Reddit.
Waiting for another story, Leo.
Yeah, I got you. Alright.
Hey, Leo, that 6-leg nigga is pretty lit, huh?
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can get another one, because I just farmed up, Leo, and I have 500 eggs. I have 500 eggs. Should I break all of them?
Alright, you niggas ready?
I'm down. Hey,
Alright.
Dustin, are you actually listening to these two, or what? Hi, guys. I've been listening to it. This nigga. Yeah, you're just a bitch, Eddie. You get off every day early, little pussy.
Alright. This ghost story was uploaded by Reddit user u/Mortis Malum. Title of the story is Had conversations with my brothers for 2 days before I found out he died a week before. Had conversations with my brother for 2 days straight until I found out that he had been dead for a week before. Updated. This is the first time I'm actually writing about this. So when I was 13, my older brother 18, and I were both on our way to a movie
Wake
when he
up.
hit a drunk driver. I woke up in a hospital 4 days later, having lost my right leg and other leg in cast along with other injuries. That night I woke up to my brother sitting on my bed, telling me that everything would be okay and to just go back to sleep. Next day my parents came to visit me to see how I was doing. I asked why my brother wasn't with them, and they looked at each other, but they didn't say anything. That night again, I woke up to my brother visiting my bed, again telling me he knows that I can make it through this. I need to be strong and welcome him into my life, and overcome these and not let my injuries stop me from living life. We talked for a bit, him not answering specific
Is he
questions,
just
but
deadass ringing
answering
my
more
phone right
general
now?
questions.
Dude, these dumbass
I remember
annoying
asking him
niggas.
why he was still wearing clothes
These
from
niggas
yesterday.
always be ringing my
Why he was
phone.
still wearing the clothes from the accident, because it was very unlikely for him to wear the same clothes back to back. He was a very clean person. He didn't answer me that, but then I asked him how he said to be better than he thought he would be given a circumstance. He reminded me to be strong and to keep living life,
Damn,
no
nigga, this is
matter how
honestly a
it
boring
goes,
ass story, bro.
and not to let anything stop me how much I love. The next day, parents again came to visit me in the hospital, and I asked them why my brother wasn't there with them. Again, they looked at each other, and it was only after I said that I would look at my family visit together and not at different times. I would like my brother to visit during the day. We can talk more instead of at night. That my dad asked what I meant, and I told him. Andy had been coming at night to visit me, and had been waking me up all these nights. My mom broke down and left the room. My dad then told me that it was impossible because Andy had died in the accident instantly. I didn't realize it, and I argued it. And then ended having to go. It almost lost my consciousness. That night I had to visit the night I had no visit. The next day, my parents brought a newspaper article about the accident. Years later, my fiance had an experience, and having never seen the photo of my brother, she described him to me. She described him to me and told me what he was wearing. That is a story for another time, but it is nice knowing brothers still around and looking out for me. Love those I love. What the fuck? Damn, and he has an extra second part about it on what happened to his wife. Because apparently his wife encountered his brother as well.
Lit.
Yeah. Alright, how about this one? This literally just happened and I'm still shaking. Ghost story posted. So I'm gonna turn off the music, it's just kinda tripping me out.
For real, me too, nigga.
This literally just happened to me and I'm still shaking. A ghost story posted onto r/ghost stories Reddit by Reddit user Misha Bobisha 316. Something really creepy
Misha
just happened to me.
Bobisha.
As I was driving home, a little girl ran into the front of my car,
Frequisha.
in front of me, and we both slammed on our brakes. I thought I had hit her. So I got out of to check. So did the other lady. Guys, we couldn't find her. She wasn't under my car. She wasn't on the ground. She wasn't on the side of the road. We both saw her, but I swear she just vanished. I'm super freaked out. I got my phone out to call an ambulance and everything. Update. So I was really freaked out last night, and I realized that I could have been a bit more forthcoming with details. Everything happened so fast. I'm going to try my best to remember as much as possible. The road is called Old 22 in Pennsylvania, near the Kutztown area. There is no local legends or anything like that, or any talk about ghosts, girl, or in the road or anything. As far as I'm aware, there hasn't been an accident or a death on that spot in the last 30 years. So it's something that did happen. It was a reason. There's two large open fields on either side of the road, so we could have seen her if she ran away. We both saw her, so it wasn't just our imaginations. She was young, maybe 5 or 6. She had light blonde hair and wore a blue dress. I never saw her face, it happened too fast, and I was kind of panicking. We searched the whole area for 5 minutes looking for her, but there was no sign of her anywhere. We were both freaked out, and so she said, I think it's time to go. I said, good idea, and we left. I've lived in this area my entire life, and I drive by this spot almost every day, but I've never seen anything like that. Nigger.
That story sucked. I just playing. You guys
Yeah,
just
for
crying?
everyone.
For
Alright,
real.
you guys want to listen to this one? Alright, I'm gonna come up with my own story. Okay, so this story happened to me Nah, I need to make a character. Nah, I'm gonna be a kid myself. This story happened to me. Hello, I am Amy. I am a 12-year-old. I'm an 11-year-old girl, and this story happened to me not too long ago. So I was either 10 or 11. I want to say it was the late 90s. You know, I have lived my whole life in El Paso, Texas. The culture here is very rich, full with stories and religious belief and many ghost stories. And due to many Hispanic families and all the Mexican people around me, I tend to run into lots of calls about La Llorona. La Llorona is translated as the crying girl, really nigga. Um, La Llorona, aka La Llorona, really nigga. I don't know what to say, honestly.
Just read a story, nigga.
I'm gonna give you a description of how my mom used to describe her to me. A tall, thin woman, spirit-like, that wears black clothing, has black hair, and wears a white gown. She roams rivers and creeks, wailing for her kids that she drowned. No one really knows when the legend of the Llorona began, or from where it was originated. Through the tales vary, but let me tell you, I have my own tale. One night, it was just like any other night. I lived in a trailer with my mom and my dad, my youngest little brother Santi, and my aunt. I fell asleep watching, some Selena Gomez movie, Very Odd Parents. As usual, as it was back then, I would always wake up in the middle of the night. And especially back in the day when I would fall asleep watching TV. I remember waking up in the sofa in the living room. The time was 4 in the morning, which illuminated from the stove in the kitchen. The television was off. No longer was I watching TV, I was just watching a pitch black screen. I woke up and heard a horrible screaming coming from the outside. My first thought was my mom. I just wanted to know if my mom was okay. But the closer I got the screaming, I realized it was coming from the ditch, which was just a few feet away from my house. I heard it and I thought I was hearing things. I asked myself, am I dreaming? Then I started to hear the animals outside howling and whimpering at the screams. These animals I speak of are cats and dogs. As the screaming got closer, the cats and dogs got louder. The screaming was only building up more and more. As time closed in on me, I could only tell what was happening. I stood up off the couch just to see the length of the turned off TV and behind me, a long hallway. It sounded like the screaming was almost coming from inside the hallway. But the closer she got, the more it sounded like she was screaming her guts out. Then all the screaming started to make out words. These words started shocking me. They would shock whoever would be up at 4 in the morning. The woman said, "Ay, mis hijos." In huge panic, I quickly got up from the sofa and ran to the kitchen, which was right next to where I
That's kind
sleep.
of cool. Purple.
I turned the closet light and looked around. The screaming didn't stop. The fact that the screaming only got louder and closer, I questioned my sanity at this moment. Was I going crazy or hearing things? Then I thought to myself, this is real, and the animals are responding negatively. So I did what any other 11-year-old boy would have thought of doing.
This is the worst story I've ever heard.
In a moment like this, I ran into my mom's and dad's room. I
Yo, this
reached for my
story for
mom
real
and
sucks,
shook
bro.
her wildly. She woke up slowly in amazement and screaming faded as the way she woke up. 2 hours later, by that time my mom was already asleep again. I couldn't think of anything else but the screams I had heard. The next morning, I wake up and the sun wasn't even out yet. I remember being in a surrounded pitch darkness. Before I knew it, I was out in the ditch. I was in an empty ditch, thinking that I had just had a horrible nightmare. But the last thing I could hear was a mumble behind my ear as I slowly turned around to see the legs of a tall woman. I didn't even want to look up before I took off running. I got back in, and I ended up passing out on the couch from fear. I always tell my mom the story, and it took her a little bit to believe me, But then later that day, she realized I had a big red handprint on my leg, and this is the only reason she believes me on this. I'm telling you, La Llorona is real, and she's out there. Can you guys clap?
Good
Nah,
close. That's cute, bro. Been breaking eggs for 20 minutes, bro.
Wanna play like Apex? That's so fake of you to say that. If you know Jason doesn't have Apex, why would you even say you're down? That's so fake. Are you telling that to Jason? That's so dick. Yeah, I'm sorry that Eddie's acting this way, Jason. Ever since he got caught being his meat at school, he's been very pissed off about stuff. Just ignore him. He's gonna oil up his titties later tonight and fall asleep. Hey, do you ever oil up your body, bro? I pulled up to Ayana's house with a condom and a fucking bottle of oil, just in case. Cooking oil, though. So when I feel like if I smash too hard, the oil would just light up on fire and kill me. Yo, Dustin, I'll tell me you're gonna get off.
Dustin's been off, nigga.
You playing with the kid.
Nigga's been off for like 20 minutes. Let's play Madden Superstar. Superstar KO. I'll be defense. Whoever wants to be offense. I just want to run the ball.
Hop off.
You're gonna hop off?
Yeah.
Cap.
Catch you boys.
Are you deadass hopping off?
What app should I download so I can download Warzone? Siege? Bad Siege.
What?
Download.
Celia.